Torbran, Thane of Redfell versus Urza, Lord High Artificer. We are on the play, which I don't mind, against a blue player. Let's get down this Spear Spewer as soon as we can. We're actually looking pretty good on our curve. We just need to get into another red land. I'm not above wastelanding a non-basic land when we're up against Urza though. Yeah, nothing to do on turn 2. Let's just go for the wasteland. We'll ping our opponent and pass over to them. An Ethereum Sculptor. Can't get rid of that just yet, unfortunately. And our opponent is going in for basics, so we're not going to have to go for wasteland. There is our mountain, so do we want to go for the Collective Defiance? We could have our opponent discard all the cards in their hand and draw that many, assuming that they actually kept a decent hand. I think I'm actually going to go for that here. Now then, what did we get rid of? Transmute Artifact is really good to get rid of. Spell Snare, so we're obviously up against a spiky player here. Narset, Parter of the Veils, and a Mystical Tutor. We're going to take a damage from that Ethereum Sculptor, so let's leave back the Spear Spewer. It may be that we get our opponent into counter magic here. We certainly got them into that Sol Ring. Yeah, and there's Urza. So let's... And there's Urza. Comes down with a Construct token. And they get a Prismatic Vista as well, so apparently we gave them a better hand. But I don't think a one-sided wheel against this player would have been particularly good, no matter what we did, because it's a spiky player like we've already established. We didn't know that at the time. Going to try and have our Torbran stay in play here. Cracking the Prismatic Vista in response. They may have a... No, they don't have Force Spike, which is what I was going to say. Oh, and of course they don't need Force Spike, do they, because they've got more mana from their Urza, so instead going for Impulse. They've got Vidalcan Shackles. Well, in red we can get rid of artifacts. Let's go for Spear Spewer in response to that. Deal 3 damage to our opponent. We don't have means of getting into any artifacts now though, and our opponent has accelerated way too far past us, I think. So they're just swinging in with everything, and it looks like they're holding up counter magic. There is some artifact removal, so let's go for a Braid and see if we can get past some counter magic. Well, they're going for Fact or Fiction. That forces them to tap out next turn. Unfortunately, can't get down the Pyrohemia, so we're just going to have to pass. That's probably the game done for us, though. I don't think we've got much luck of drawing into too much artifact removal. This is mainly burn in this deck. And they don't mind tapping out for the Pact of Negation, because with their commander in play, they've actually got a lot of mana. Let's just ping our opponent and take this damage. They deal 8 to us here. Thundermaw Hellkite. Well, we'll see if we can get that past our opponent. We can, so we've got a 5 power, 5 toughness creature now, which they might not want to swing into. The Ever-Flowing Chalice straight into Aetherflux Reservoir. Life gain's the last thing we want to see him burn, but I don't think we're going to do much against our opponent this game anyway. We will take a hit for 6, and let's deal 1 damage to ourselves and our opponent. Gauntlet of Power, yeah, I don't think Gauntlet of Power is all that great here, but if we survive until next turn, it might do us some good. So we'll hold back the Thundermaw Hellkite, try and keep hold of the Spear Spewer. And our opponent may just try and go wide on us here. Okay, they are attacking like that. How much is it to get our commander down again next turn? It'll be 6. So we've got 6 there. Then 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I don't think we can go for Pyro Bohemia. We could go for Blazing Volley. I don't think that really helps though. Nah, we'll just block there and try and get our commander back. They've probably got counter magic up for our commander anyway. And then deciding to... I think they just got a time spiral off the Urza. Going for tapping all their stuff. Then dramatic reversal. Looks like they're tapping everything for mana here. And then, of course, they get into a time spiral. That just sums this game up, doesn't it? Then an opt, scry 1 and draw. They've got a fresh grip of 7, don't forget, as do we, thanks to the time spiral. They get back into that impulse. Then a mana vault for even more mana. Followed by a windfall. And yeah, these are the types of cards we want against our opponent. Mana Barbs and Price of Glory. Too late for that, I think. A Spell Seeker. Our opponent's up to 49 life. So they're easily going to be able to get rid of us with Aetherflux Reservoir. Yeah, Brainstorm takes them up to 57. They just bolt us with 50 life. Knocking us down by 50 damage. And that's us done. So, very capable Urza list there. We were just outmatched because they had some really good draws, but it's obviously a very spiky build of Urza as well, so any of you that were interested in such a list hopefully got some enjoyment out of that. We've got a friend of the channel in Lucidius, stole his Greven deck not too long ago, and it was actually a multiplayer list I used, so I don't know if it is the same list in 1 versus 1. But we'll soon find out. Might even tell us in the chat. Let's not keep that because it's not a very cheap hand. That's not particularly great, but we've at least got Wheel of Fortune. If we get into another land, we've got a red source. Yeah, I'm sure we can get into another land, so let's keep that. Yeah, so it is the same list as the multiplayer one. Luxury Suite is the land that comes into play. It's the dual land that comes into play untapped, as long as you control, or as long as you have 2 or more opponents, I think it is, which makes no sense in 1 versus 1, obviously. Let's get rid of Combustible Gearhulk. And there's that land we needed, so we'll drop the Valakut. Tap land and we have nothing to do on our first 2 turns. Unlike our opponent, who has a Mind Stone to get down on turn 2. Drakuseth, yeah, if we're going to draw into our expensive stuff, then I think Wheel of Fortune is definitely the thing we want to go for. Although if our opponent's going to vomit his hand onto the board, then it's not necessarily the best thing for us to do now that I think about it. Followed by a Soul Ring, yeah, I've had... You're probably going to see the Urza game before this, and I was just going to say that I've had some bad luck with playing against opponents and fast mana this session. And our opponent is no exception here. Wall of Blood is actually going to be able to kill us off with Greven if they can put haste on it. And we're just continuing to draw into our more expensive stuff. 3 cards in hand, does that allow our opponent... No, I mean, we have to go for Wheel of Fortune here because we've got an awful hand. So if we give our opponent a bunch of really good stuff, then so be it. And there's our Fire Diamond. Wheel of Fate. I thought I took Wheel of Fate out of here because it's far too slow. Can we discard anything for Risk Factor? Never really played with Jumpstart. You can cast it by discarding a card, so we can get rid of Wheel of Fate for that. Now, we can always Lightning Bolt the Wall of Blood. Oh no, we can't because they can give +1/+1 instant speed, can't they? Yeah, I think we're just going to lose here because we can't get rid of Greven. Right, we'll see what they do this turn anyway. Yeah, there's the haste, so it is playing Greven, put haste on it, pile all of your life into Wall of Blood. That will give Greven a huge buff, and they swing in for 21 points of commander damage. So that's probably us done next turn. And now it seems as though we're getting into our cheap stuff, which is a bit too late. Yeah, the problem with Wall of Blood against Burn is that we can't get rid of it with Lightning Bolt. Yeah, we can go for our Commander and just... No, we can't even chump block with the Commander, can we, because of Menace. Nah, we can't win this one, so we'll just get out the Fire Diamond and the Spear Spewer. And then maybe our opponent is F6'd. Nah, just trying to play to my outs there. But there's no way that Lightning Bolt gets through to the Wall of Blood. They can just plus that in response a couple of times and it will survive the Lightning Bolt, which is exactly what they're doing. So now, like I said, all that happens is Greven comes into play and they dump a bunch of life into Wall of Blood, swinging with haste. It can't be blocked and that gets Commander damage off on us. And there is the unblockable, hasty, hexproof Greven. 21 points of Commander damage coming off onto us here. So we'll just be sure to say GG to our opponent. So there we are, 2 convincing losses for Torbran this time. I don't feel too badly about it because of the fast mana. Our opponent wouldn't have been able to get off to anywhere near as fast a start had it not have been for, well, the Sol Ring particularly. But they got into a Mind Stone as well, whereas we were getting into things like Drakuseth and Thundermaw Hellkite and Erebrask, really expensive stuff. And then the game previous was Urza, wasn't it? So I don't think there's ever any shame in losing to Urza, especially when it is as spiky a build as it was. So it's a good game to both of our opponents. Good game to friend of the channel, Lucidius. And you'll have to all let me know if you want me to play this Greven list again at some point, because I did have every intention of doing that, but time gets away with you sometimes. Anyway, hopefully you all enjoyed these games. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.